Awareness, produced by Emily Gulmer, led by Jennifer A. Whitaker. Take it, Emily. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first um, Joe's Mental Health Awareness Show of 2023. And the Joe's Mental Health Awareness is part of the World of Ability Podcast Network. And I am Emily, one of the co-hosts today, along with Jennifer, and Kurt Roskoff is also here. And would also encourage everybody to go to all of our Joe's Coffee Chat social media and like, share, subscribe, comment, interact with our pages, and wherever you found us. So I'm going to pass it over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Emily. Everybody, if you haven't been here before, Joe's Mental Health Awareness is every Monday, 2:30 Central. If you want to hear us live. And we usually have John Tarr here. I'm not sure that he will show up today. We're hoping that he's okay and not sick or anything. But we like to talk about on this show how it interacts with ourselves as different people with different conditions, as well as the world around us, and how those of us that have mental health conditions, when we're struggling with them, we're impacting our own lives, but the lives that we impact around us, families, friends, workers, co-workers, customers, clients, people that look forward to seeing you at the gym, or people that look forward to seeing you and worshiping with you at your religious gathering. Wherever that we encounter other people, we are constantly impacting the life of those people, whether we know them or not. And because of that, on this show of Joe's Mental Health Awareness, I want to touch a topic that is quite personal to me. For some of you, you may have heard me on World of Ability, their Wednesday show back in 2022. And you may remember, if you do listen to the World of Abilities Compassionate Citizens that's on Wednesdays, you may recall that in the summer of 2022, I started to wean off of a seizure medication after having my brain surgery. And I did not expect this. However, the longer I went at the reduced dose of the medication, was the closer I got and the deeper I got in depression. I was still seizure free. Me served that purpose as far as making seizure free and making it manageable as far as my epilepsy. But even though I was not having seizures, some of you may know that I was out during the holidays as of the second week of December until today, the first Monday of January 2023, that I'm now back. And as far as for my case, that was because I got so down in the dumps of depression that I was even irritable. And that's almost unheard of with depression, because we think depression, sadness, we don't ever think of it conveying itself as irritability or frustration and other high activity symptoms. But I actually learned the hard way that depression actually presents itself in both forms and alternate at the same time. And you may not even, like, I didn't even know that I was depressed, but my mom mentioned how I was helping out around the house. And I wasn't doing certain chores I usually would do. I wasn't even doing my own responsibilities in full. I was slacking on them. Anyway, so all that to say, I ended up in the holiday season, the second week of December until now, New Year's, going back to the 1,200 milligrams, my original full dosage of my seizure medication, because according to my neurologist, it is also used as a mood stabilizer. So for those of us who have different mental health illnesses, we could all end up on Aptium. It might can be for the reasons of seizures with the mental health benefit. Someone else's could be on it for them and not even know a thing about the seizure effect of it because they don't even have the episodes like I do with both. However, Emily, Kurt, and I saw this morning that I was being giggly, laughing at stuff, right, Kurt?
That's right. Good stuff.
Okay. And interesting enough, I didn't have any difficulty making content this morning. Nah, there goes Emily shaking her head. Nah. Yep. So, what y'all knew in November of 2021, when I originally started co hosting World of Abilities Wednesday show Compassionate Citizen, that person is back. I'm back in town and I'm back alive. Yep. There we go. Cheers. At least Emily said it with her thumbs up.
We're glad to have you back.
Right. So, that said, I had to experiment on my own to realize that even though I don't have epilepsy anymore, I still needed that medication at the full dosage that was only put at that extreme high dosage for those of controlling severe seizures. And now I need it for the health reasons. And so I made the decision on Monday, the second week of December, to not only did I, for those of you that remember, do only the Jaws diet that day and not do the afternoon shows, but that also I decided that night, after where my emotions going, how deep in the hole I was going as far as my depression, to intentionally, based on a conversation that I had in November with my epileptologist, return my milligrams to the full dose of my seizure medication. He permitted it, but he said it'd be up to me to decide, because if I decided to go back to the full dose, I'd have to put up with the side effects. That's the whole reason I didn't want to be on it anymore. Well, in the end, when it gets giggling and laughing, it's worth being back on that medication and it's worth dealing with effects. So, yes, I struggled through a hard time, but I found a solution. I did my research contacting the doctors. Spoke with the one that originally had me on the medication for a different reason, but spoke to him. Asked my therapist what she thought about how I was doing between April of 2022, when I first started seeing her, and July of 2022, when I first started weaning off my seizure medicine. Asked the same question about that period after July until December period, of my psychiatrist, and both agreed I was a much more balanced and well overall person in the summer. So, putting those together, I experienced as a patient, in I made an educated decision upon it being handed to me as my decision in my conversation with my epileptologist. So I took the option of putting back at the full dosage, which he agreed, my epileptologist, that if I did that, then he would return to prescribing it at my full dosage. Now, I did not just decide this randomly. I went to my providers and I got their advice. I also researched it looking in my health diary. I keep a health diary to see how I am in different seasons of life. And I remembered the summer being a lot better season for me. I remembered the springtime, even though I had surgery, you may know, I had surgery in March of 2022. And even after surgery, I was in place mentally than I was in fall. So it's through using my analytical skills and looking back, recall different experiences, different moods in life from my own perspective, in addition to these opinions of these different doctors. That's how I resolution. So now I'm back, but I am back at the full dosage of my Aptium, doctor's approval, both for me to have the choice and him to agree to both options, whichever one I chose, to stay at the 600 milligrams or to return to the 1200 milligrams. And he said either way, he would prescribe it based on which option I decided to be my long-term treatment plan. So I had to, of course, after making the decision, put the 1200 milligrams in my organizer. Behind those, I have a medicine organizer, and I take that one day's handful out of the organizer. So I did that. And then once I counted my tablets to see how many I had left, meaning how many days worth at 1200 milligrams dosage, I knew I would need a prescription sometime soon. So I called his nurse line and asked the nurse to notify my epileptologist that I chose to return to the full dosage, and gave them the timeline of when that prescription ran out. From there, the doctor ordered more refills, sent in another prescription, and now I'm prepared until the next time I see him. But all of this starts with each of us as people with mental health issues looking at ourselves and looking back at how we experienced life at different stages in time to realize when we are not quite ourselves. Some of us don't look back. Some of us just think whatever that we're experiencing at the moment is just the way the world is, or life is, or other people are, or whatever's our perspective, depending upon our condition. It's not the best decision. That's not the best way to go about it. The best way is to look at yourself at different seasons in life. And my best friend did that. She has schizophrenia. And when she did, and she looked at her health diary, she realized after going on this organic diet, an all-natural diet, as a way of using food and nutrition to balance her schizophrenia in place of medication, she saw in her health diary that actually the point that she was the happiest was before she went on this naturalist approach and when she was on a mental health medication called lithium. So then I asked her, without saying her name, I asked her, "Hey, buddy, so what do you think about contacting your psychiatrist and seeing if they will return you to the dosage you were on of lithium, because it sounds like that lithium was better than this natural diet that you are so determined to do." And she said to me, she said, "Yeah, I really wanted to do that, but then I thought I don't want to deal with all the side effects of medicine." Well, in reality, going the natural way, you're not getting rid of side effects, you're changing side effects. Like I told her, oh, one of the things that her naturalist tells her to eat is a lot of fruit. Well, with fruit, type sugar and cakes and stuff like that, but it's so eating that every day causes a risk of diabetes, even if it's later in life before someone gets the diabetes. All that to say, there's no matter if it's the naturalist way, using natural supplements and diet, or if it's the traditional way, using medication that's by pharmaceutical companies. Everything has a risk. Everything has a pro and con. You just got to pick your battles. But you also need to look at your battles and see which battle was not as hard to function within. Medication or treatment plan, operation, whatever that either you have done and you're able to look back to see is when you were better, you need to return there or talk to your doctors about it. All this starts with you looking at yourself and looking back on your time of what you have gone through to see when you were at your best functionality, your best mental health stability. And those times are the times we want to spend our whole life in. So whatever it takes, whether it's my best friend going on lithium or to me going back to the 1,200 milligrams of Aptium, that's what we need to do. And we each need to take our own responsibility for our own actions. Because whether not so truthful with your psychiatrist and or therapist, or it's not seeing a therapist or psychiatrist to even get their help. Either way, a portion of what you go through is your own fault. Whether you are open and honest with your providers of what you're going through, what you're experiencing, for them to know which medicine is better for you, or it's you just not taking your medicine, or maybe you just not even admitting the diagnosis that somebody gave you, or you go through something and you don't see a provider that can give you a diagnosis and give you a treatment plan to allow you to function at ability while having the condition. Saying that you have a condition or not getting it diagnosed and not getting it handled does not eliminate the fact that you still have it. It just allows the battle to be stronger, more dominating. Do y'all say, Emily or Kurt?
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, I guess just congratulations. I don't even really know at the moment. But yeah,
What did you say?
But yeah. Kurt, did you have anything quick before you leave?
Sure. Just a quick question on the video here. Emily, do you have this selected? It seems like when we're talking here, my screen isn't showing the kind of. There we go. Now you're on. Here we go. On the job training. So there we are. There's me. All right. So now people can see who's talking. So yeah, in terms of mental health, I'm involved with Optimus International, which is all there to be friend of youth, bring out the best in kids. Every Optimist Club formed to serve the youth, the community, and ourselves. An Optimist Creed, which I think speaks to the direction of mental health a little bit. And Jennifer, you connected to Emily and I through the Happy Neighborhood Project. I see the work that Edwin Edeberry and his wife, Helen Kioma, what they do. I see serving the realm of mental health to talk about happiness as a skill, and to have happiness as a default position, kind of serves, one little slice of how people can, take responsibility for their mental health and, choose to take steps and actions and build habits that help bring us to the brighter side of, mental health. And, and I think a lot of progress in the decades of past, especially in the last decade and even the last handful of years, in terms of removing some of the stigma that is associated with mental health and having somebody with a mental health diagnosis. I think basically everyone starts to see this importance of thinking about what you're doing in the mental health side of things. I know, the youth part of my life, there was a lot of stuff shared as I was going through my teen years about positive affirmations and stuff like this. So mental health is something that we all work on, and there are things like prescriptions and mental health medications and so forth that kind of build that path of success a little bit more predictably and a little more assuredly at times. So I think the mental health part of our lives is kind of a venture, an adventure of its own. And, I think, with the show that we do through World of Ability Podcast Network, it's Compassionate Citizens that comes from the Compassionate Citizens Project. So I think this area of compassion is kind of what we're seeing opening up, and, being something where, we all affect each other. And I think our awareness of that and the importance of kindness and the age-old virtues of happiness, peace, love, and joy. So I think a lot is being done to kind of help the disposition and kind of helping of being in a better place. But medically speaking, that stuff can all be well and good, but it may not be the end all cure all, to have these behavioral adjustments or to have these skills or to these things. Sometimes it takes getting with a professional and, kind of having a little bit more intervention from the science and the, the biochemistry and stuff like that. We were with somebody earlier today, the product or bodily experience to get a little bit more endorphins and things like that are more readily available. So yeah, definitely celebrating the exchange with your friends, Jennifer. A mantra that everybody needs: the greatest healthcare crisis known to humankind is social isolation. So to invite others and to welcome people time base and say, can I help? Sometimes just being there with people is helpful, and sometimes offering that they can talk and you just listen. Sometimes that's so yeah, a lot of things unfolds. But I'm gonna have to pass. You later on. Thanks for having me on here.
for us to do it. But that also means that I'm not at a social place, whether it's the gym where I have certain friends I work out with, or it's the Chamber of Commerce meeting where I meet a lot of people with high influence that are in the local Katy area. Or among other things I do, sometimes just simply going to the coffee shop or whatever. But there's all these different places where I meet up with different people, church and so forth, throughout the week. And if I spent every day here where I was on here doing a full time of this show or a different series on Jaws Coffee Chat, I would not have enough time to spend in public with interaction with other people, which goes to exactly what you're saying is the balance. And I think that also goes to the idea of work and life balance, because for me, the life needs to be a bigger share of the time than the work, because of work involves being here where I'm by myself versus the interaction actually in person on my off days where I'm doing paperwork or other stuff as to the podcast, and I'm interacting with other people, even if it's my best friend Jen. She has a store right here in Brookshire, Texas, and I just go in and volunteer to play cashier at her store because she wants a day off. Working for her, I'm not technically a cashier, but I'm just simply doing my own work at her desk. And if she has a customer that's ready to purchase something, I check them out. Otherwise, I'm just sitting there doing my own thing. But that gives me the social interaction between with our customers and the personal satisfaction of helping somebody else out. And I have other friends I do stuff like that with as well. That then again, like you're saying, is also a way of helping ourselves. Kurt, are you still with us? He's not. Oh. So what do you guys say, Emily?
Well, mental health is a very important topic, and that needs to be taken seriously. It's not something lightly.
You know, something interesting I heard was, you know how Kurt was saying just now when it was his turn about it becoming a big thing, a big major topic over the last 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it really became drastically big until the pandemic. You remember how during the pandemic?
I think it probably it probably was like kind of like a gradual thing, and maybe not as obvious in certain things until, like you said, pandemic.
Right, but then it spiked as opposed to gradual.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say it wasn't really till the pandemic that it became a big topic. Like, you didn't hear the news about...
Or obvious. I mean, I think it's an important topic to talk about, but I think things like this, of the pandemic and the things, just bring these kind of like issues out more into the like forefront,
mainstream.
Yeah, because I think everybody's always been talking about mental health for so long. It's just a matter of, you get what I'm saying?
Right. People talk about it, but it didn't really hit mainstream TV as far as being a main topic of the news, like CNN or ABC or MSNBC, until the pandemic. That doesn't mean it wasn't already happening, and it wasn't already substantial growth number of people to suffer from. but
Yeah, and then with the
Said we
pandemic,
didn't
that's,
really find enough to hit mainstream news until the pandemic.
yeah, and everybody started focusing on that one thing instead of mental health being one of like several things.
Well, in the pandemic, it was one of several. Remember, we had the economic crisis, as well as the Black Lives Matter, as well as Asian.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
then,
I was just talking about in general as a whole. Like
well,
there's
it was one of the more predominant.
Yeah, yeah.
It was one of the more predominant instead of such a minor topic. That's what I think you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it became more predominant once the pandemic hit.
Right. It was one of the top 5 things. Yep. Yeah, because they said that in the pandemic, mental health started to affect people who had no history of it, neither did anybody in their family.
Right.
Of anything mental health related. And, you know, I have friends who still now act like the lockdown is still going on, as far as they don't go out anywhere.
Oh, okay.
And a couple other friends of mine were shocked when the two that are staying cooped up in their house said they'd come to my party. And so my birthday party is later in January, but my best friend that sees me all the time was like, "What? How in the world did you get those, you know, without saying the name, the guy and the girl to come to your party? I haven't seen them around. Are they even okay?" So I texted the two that have been kind of cooped up, hiding out, and told them that this other friend of ours that we all know, because we're like all a group of 5 that know each other, was worried about what's going on. And the female just said that they've been just trying to protect themselves from COVID. And so they haven't really come out. And just my birthday party was at a point in time that they just needed a chance to get out because they're so cooped up that they're struggling. And it makes me wonder if it's mental health, because both of them have jobs still. They just have now work from home jobs. So to me, that's like, okay, you have work from home jobs. The lockdown's over, but you're staying cooped up all the time, as opposed to just during work hours that you have to, you have to be sitting there, right? And they're not even going to their favorite social places where all 5 of us originally met. And it's just weird. So we've all been concerned about them. But there's people like that we never know could be suffering of something mental health related that just haven't opened up about it, whether it's to us or it's to healthcare providers or whatever. But that there's some reason they go from being social butterflies at every birthday party and every social event that gets together over coffee or whatever, to now suddenly avoiding everybody.
Yeah, even if they're even aware of, they have something. Because it could be, because there could be some that they just hasn't been diagnosed yet, and it hasn't shown like obvious symptoms or anything like that.
That's what I'm saying. But that's many lives were affected by the pandemic who had no prior history of mental health illnesses, but stuff like that is where it's showing up still, even though the pandemic is supposedly over.
Yeah.
So there's cases like that, like you say, may be undiscovered. Maybe, someone hasn't uncovered that they have something going on, but that doesn't they don't have it going on, whatever that something is.
Yeah, it just may not be as to themselves or
the person with it, really.
Yeah, the person themselves, or maybe outwardly if it's like obvious.
But that's the number one key the number one struggle with mental health illnesses is that the person who has the mental illnesses doesn't know they have it. They don't know they're different.
I think
Like when I spent my whole life having seizures, I didn't know seizures wasn't something everybody had.
yeah,
You know, and whether somebody is depressed or anxious or they're panic, like, you know, panic attacks, if they have it, like let's say it was a reaction to the pandemic and they have it for the rest of their lives, they don't necessarily know that that's a diagnosis if they've never been and they're not even in any kind of mental health related field to have any way to have known. They don't necessarily know something's wrong with them, so they don't necessarily know they need to get help or that there is help.
yeah, especially younger people, but even older adults, if it's
Well, a lot of older adults still don't know. They're
yeah,
very
I know, that's what I was just trying to say. But
no one else has had it before, so they don't
Right.
know what it is to know it's even a diagnosis.
yeah, I'm sure how to yeah, then it's like figuring out like the right person to go to and that ask questions and kind
And
of
that's the part where
get
many of
it
them-
figured out.
Right, I was going to say, and that part I'm talking about is when many of them, somebody brings it to their attention that they can get help. They often are too shy or feel that there's some kind of label of seeking help. Like if they see a psychiatrist, a certain label on them, or if they see a therapist, they'll get a certain label on them. That these things place fears of when someone gives them that initiative that they need to see, they don't want to because of these whatever bad labels, right?
Or
So somebody could tell them they need to, and then they run into that hurdle, right?
part of it might be a little bit with denial too, with denial that maybe they have whatever it is.
I think
if
both.
they that for themselves, even if somebody maybe telling them this might be what it is, you know, and to have it checked out and that kind of thing.
But I was talking about
but yeah, the label thing.
Because some people think it gives them a label, meaning like they're embarrassed because of whatever that will categorize them as.
Yeah.
There's shame in the
too.
idea that you have to see a therapist, or shame of some sort you have to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah. Because of a now of maybe a condition you didn't realize that you had. It's one that's not totally obvious. Really.
Oh, it's very hard to identify. I never would have known when I was 14 that I had a mental health condition.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I first got PTSD, but I had no idea. And at that time, I wasn't even diagnosed with my Asperger's. So then again, I had no idea anything was wrong with me besides my epilepsy. And to me, it was kind of like, why did people make fun of me when, you know, if I have epilepsy, I thought that's just normal because that's all what I had spent my whole life having. So I didn't know that I wasn't normal. And I wondered why all these kids made fun of me when I was growing up. My peers. It was blinding to me. If that's all I knew, how was I to know my way wasn't what other people discover and experience?
Yeah.
That's what I see as a hurdle, whether it's later in life with mental health or it's early in life. It's if that's all you know, you can't necessarily see that your way is not normal because you have nothing to compare it with.
Yeah.
You have any new thoughts?
I think just one for our listeners out there to encourage everybody to take your own mental health
Take it seriously.
and to get the help get the help you need in order to either get past it or to kind of deal with the situation better and not pull it off and think it's not important, because there could very well be something that could or be.
And if
more
you're not
serious.
sure what kind of doctor to see your regular primary care physician and open up to him or her about what you are experiencing, your feelings, your mood, your attitude, emotions, everything, thoughts, fears. Just tell them everything and let them tell you who to see, whether they can just prescribe medication or they may send you to a psychiatrist or they may send you to a therapist or wherever, whoever. But if you don't know who to see to get help started, see your primary care physician, your regular family doctor.
Yes. Yes. A good place to start. And put you in the right direction.
Right, because primary care is usually saying if they can, if not, then what kind of specialist we need for whatever in the world we go to them about.
Yeah.
They know where to point us, even if we don't know.
So that was a big point I wanted to. No.
Oh yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Make sure we got it.
Make sure we.
Yeah, that's a big point. I want to make sure that we get through to out there to nurses to take it seriously, and if you need help, then get the help that you need. It's kind of like you, Jennifer, and I was growing up. I mean, I had, it was a little different. I just didn't know what, and didn't get diagnosed with Asperger's until I was in my 20s. So
that's funny. I was in my 20s. I was 26 when I was diagnosed.
I might have been around that same age too. I don't remember exact age at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just odd.
Yeah.
Our lives paralleled in quite some ways, didn't they?
Yep. They did. So yeah. If something doesn't seem right to you, just to put off to have it checked into from that until years down the road, 'cause it could.
Well, like
not be for good. The sooner it's the sooner it's taken care of, the better. In most cases, I think.
Right. was going to say my Asperger's, I didn't find out on purpose. I actually stay in an apartment, and there was a psychologist that worked there who somebody called to come to my apartment to help me through a crisis. And that psychologist that helped me through the crisis was the one that originally gave me the diagnosis. I didn't call her. I didn't tell her I needed to talk to her or, whatever. Like, just somebody else in the disability housing told her to come to me to help me because they identified that I was in a crisis, and she gave me the label, the diagnosis. And honestly, it's kind of weird because the therapist in this center was actually a best friend of my mom's.
Oh well.
So it's a
It's
small world, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say then.
So it turns out that she and my mom stay in touch, and she knows about how well I'm doing. And my mom gives her the credit for the first step, which was the identification of the illness.
Yeah. I think it sounds like a good apartment building. Who's
Well,
it?
mom was a disability housing department. I got depressed there because everybody there was on disability, and most of the ones there were intellectually challenged. And they they like didn't have the credentials to be able to work. Neither did they have the intelligence because of the types and degrees of disabilities they had. And I was the only one there that worked, and I just got so discouraged and depressed because I was like, why is everybody asking me why am I even trying to work? Doesn't everybody work a job? I mean, what's wrong with me trying to work? But they were all like, well, then you can do this and this fun activity here at the center if you just, stop working. You don't have to work to be here. Nobody here works besides you.
Oh, I was referring to the woman who brought up the friend of your mom.
Oh yeah, somebody called her up to help me with the.
Yeah, so I was
crisis.
getting so that's what I was giving a little credit to that person too.
You mean there as opposed to anybody else in that trade?
Yeah, well, they're in the center in the sense that she might have got the ball rolling. In that, I mean, she said something to the person, and that person came out to evaluate and whatever. But because if that person didn't do it, who knows when, if or when,
right?
you would have been diagnosed. Right?
Yeah, it was kind of amazing. It's like just pops up new stuff. We never know what to expect in life.
Nope, you don't.
Like I remember thinking of things we don't know what to expect. Like I remember 2019 Christmas, and we were talking about 2020 be a good year. And now in 2023, we all know why 2020 was not a good year, at least in most of it, right?
Yeah, so.
Well, but that
in great part,
yeah,
in great,
problem.
Yeah, in great part to the COVID.
Yeah, and that surprised pretty much the whole world when we went through what started in February of 2020 while we went into 2020 talking about what it was going to be.
Yeah, and so here we are, we're in the opposite. But, yeah.
Hey, let's not say anything like that. We want 2023 to be a good year too.
Yeah, we're only on our second day, so
right? Let's not ask for anything.
To be jinxing anything here, so
I know we don't need to request anything that God delivers without us wanting.
yes.
You know how some people are speaking things into being?
Hmm.
So let's not try to challenge that power.
No. So I think we might be almost at our hour. 5 minutes from our hour.
Yes.
Um.
So go ahead with the next step.
So we should have John back next week. So
He got back with you?
What? Yeah,
He got back with you?
Yeah, he just forgot and was out shopping with his wife, but he would be on the next, the one coming up, I think, is what he meant. But as far as any announcements or events, so the biggest one for me at the moment is the International Day of Happiness that is occurring on March 17th, or St. Patrick's Day. To celebrate the International Day of Happiness, which the official day is March 20th. But the Happy Neighborhood Project is celebrating it a few days early. So everybody can go to the website hmpabc.com/IDH to find out more information. Get your ticket. Tickets are now $30 for the month of January. Starting in February, they are going to be $40. So I encourage everybody, or encourage those who are planning on attending, to get your ticket ASAP. At this event, it's going to last 9 a.m. Pacific to 3 p.m. Pacific, which is noon to 6 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be speakers, networking, prizes, among other things. Should be a good time. The one thing that's special for this 2023 one is that we are trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records of the most people speed networking at one time. The current record is 1,068. That was set by Belgium in 2014. So we're looking to get a few more people than 1,068. So encourage everybody to invite everybody you know, and to make this a even more awesome event. So John, do you have any other announcements that you'd like to say before we say our farewell?
Yes. If any of you listening or just at any point would like part of our team, we are looking for various people to fill different roles. A virtual assistant to help with social media, marketing, accounting, digital marketing like social media posting, helping with putting words on podcasts and leading podcasts,
Anyways, we can give you more details, but if you'd like to help with any of the marketing aspect or any of the ones I already named, a virtual assistant, please be sure to get on our calendar. That's Calendly, ndly.com/Jenn's Books and More. That's JENNS Books and More.
Also, you can go on the same link on our calendar if you'd like to be considered for a social media manager role. And this person would also be helping with search engine optimization and other things like that. And the social media candidate, as well as the public relations candidate for doing press releases, maybe helping write blog posts and help with search words or posting social media and so forth. But that's public relations in addition to social media marketing that we're talking about. If you want to do any combination, please also, even if it's for these positions, go to calendly.com/JENNS Books and More. That's Calendly, CALENDLY.com/JENNS Books and More. We are right now recording this on January 2nd, 2023. It is presently 30 Central Time, and we are for candidates to start filling these roles, as well as candidates to help co-host, co-produce, co-manage, co-lead, and other ways participate as part of the production so we can generate and make more podcasts, in addition to having more on our team to expand the work productivity together. If you are interested in any of these roles, we are willing to share a percentage of the profitability as all of us work together like different business owners as a team that's all splitting the profit. And we don't pay anybody any set amount of dollars per hour. Everybody's on their percentage of the team effort of growing the podcast. So if you're interested in any of those, go to Calendly, CALENDLY.com/JENNS Books and More. If this is not something you're interested in, but please be sure to send them, copy and paste it to them, however else to get it to the other people. If you're interested in being on our podcast, a guest speaker, you can also go to the same link. And we would like to meet with you and see if possibly you would like a partnership to have a show about your business and what you do. Or what you represent, such as a cause. We love working with churches, Bible teachers, pastors, and others to spread the word of Christ, in addition to profit businesses where we can help each other profit more. Maybe your trade or reason for interest, we want to hear from you. So please go ahead. If you want to be a guest speaker, please go to calendly.com/Jaws Coffee Chat. All guests who want to speak, just an episode or so forth, to join shows we already have, as opposed to making a show for your own about your trade, please go to calendly.com/JAWS Coffee Chat. And Emily will make sure you get added to the right TV show, or not TV show, but the right podcast show that you are interested in being present as a guest speaker on.
I would like to, we'd like to thank everybody who came on today, as well as everybody who tuned in.
Let's look at this one real quick.
Okay.
If you are a female Bible network, have discussion groups and social events together, please go to meetup.com/aspire women-for-excellence, or go to meetup.com and just look up Aspire Women for Excellence. This is a Bible study where you can find me, and you can also, if you're another female, join for networking or entrepreneurship, what they call entrepreneurship, which is the Aspire Women for Excellence faith networking for entrepreneurs who are females and faith-driven Christian women. We don't have anything for men. However, you can go on meetup.com and look up Bible studies for men or networking for Christians and other things of that nature for the men. However, we are welcoming all women from everywhere because our Bible studies, entrepreneurship, networking, and everything else is done virtually using on it shows as a now date and time on Meetup, but we actually meet on Zoom. And if you'd like to learn more about me, Jennifer A. Whitaker, please go to our website and check us out at Jenns, JENNS, booksandmore.com. And that's where you can learn more about myself, Jennifer A. Whitaker, aka Jaw. www.jennsbooksandmore.com. Over to you, Emily.
All right. We would like to thank everybody who came on today, as well as everybody who, thanks to Maurice Hart of Transforming Media and Jay, the historian of the Disability Channel, and Zach Clayton of the PAC Channel, and having us have the show on their platforms. If you're watching this but have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always reach out to us at jawscoffeechat@gmail.com, and someone will get back to you as soon as we can. Also want to encourage everybody to go to all of our Jaws Coffee Chat social medias and groups, and subscribe, share, comment, interact with our social media pages, and wherever you found us. And our next mental health awareness show will be next Monday, January 9th, at 2:30 p.m. Central. As you're just tuning in again next week. And so on behalf of Jen, John, and Kurt, we wish you all a productive and safe and productive week, and stay happy.